Tiffany Amber is 25 years old. When you hear those double digits, what goes through your mind?
I'm old. No.
If this is old, I want all of it, my friend. This is looking fabulous.
25 years old. I think
a quarter of a century.
No. Right?
Yes.
It's just been such an amazing journey. It doesn't feel like 25 years. It feels like I started 5 years ago, but so much has happened.
Yes.
They couldn't possibly happen in 5 years. But over it all, I'm just really grateful that we're still standing tall.
Standing and thriving. And you know, most businesses don't even make it 5 years, let alone 25 years. What's been the secret, the key to your longevity?
Whew, that's a tough question because there's so many things that come into play. And I think probably one of the most important thing is we've been very focused on the vision. My vision, you know, I try not to look at the next 2 years. Because if you look at the next 2 years, you'll be discouraged.
Right.
So I always look at the next 50 years.
Really?
I work towards a very long goal. And we keep reinventing the brand over and over again. I always imagine that there's this cultural table, and on that table they decide who remains relevant, how they remain relevant, and they just make the rules.
Okay.
And then, you know, you can either beg for a seat on this table, or you make your own table. I think I'm a make my own table kind of woman.
I like that.
I always just look for a way to forge along without veering too far away from the reference point, the vision, the dream, the goals of the brand.
I may be a bit biased, but I believe that Lagos is the fashion capital of Africa.
I completely agree with you.
Okay, I also believe that you are one of the leading fashion pioneers. Do you feel like you get the credit you deserve? Have you gotten the flowers that you deserve?
It's a difficult one. I was processing what you were saying.
Don't be modest. After 25 years, you don't have to humble brag. You can brag all you want to. So I ask you again, as a leading pioneer in the fashion industry, not only in Nigeria, not only in Lagos, but on the continent, do you feel like you've gotten the credit you deserve?
A lot of my dreams for Tiffany Amber has been manifested.
Yeah.
And through the manifestation of this dream, this impacted a lot of individuals. So the impact of the brand, Tiffany Amber, is undeniable. Yes. So whether or not I get credit for it, or the flowers for it, it doesn't really matter. It's not that important. Because you can feel the impact.
Let's talk about this glorious space that we're in. We're in the Tiffany Amber. It's more than a boutique. It's an oasis. It's a refuge from the hustle and bustle that is Lagos. And you not only have these beautiful clothing items that are surrounding us, enveloping us, but there's a restaurant on this property and also a spa. Why was it important for you to open a space like this? And what do you want people to feel when they walk into this space?
A visual healing.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I want you to forget all your troubles as soon as you drive through the gate of the property. And there's an oasis of nature around. That was so important to me. They blanket the property, and there's no denying that nature heals.
Yeah.
And then when I go, when we now have the cafe, we have the spa, it's just, we move from product to service to experience. I wanted you to feel the Tiffany Amber universe in almost every aspect of your life. And that's where we're leading the brand to.
Job well done.
Thank you.
You know, it's often said that songs can function as a soundtrack for people's lives. I feel like clothes play a similar role. And I feel like Tiffany Amber has been a sartorial soundtrack for people's lives. You know, there are women who remember wearing some of your pieces on their first date, maybe wearing a blouse to a job interview, maybe wearing something to a fabulous birthday party, a milestone they were celebrating. I'm sure you've heard stories throughout the years. What are some that stick with you? Some of the special moments that people have worn Tiffany Amber for?
The one that really sticks to mind is a lady coming to accuse me of being responsible for her last child.
What?
Because her husband fell in love with her all over again because of my lily wrap dress. And what is the story of this lily wrap dress? I think it was a Rise Fashion Week in 2012. And I had this dress in my head. The entire collection was complete. But then I kept seeing this dress in my mind, and I draped and draped and draped. My team, they were so tired. Some of them were like, they crashed on the floor because they were so tired of this woman fiddling around with fabric as far as they were concerned. And I think around 3 a.m. in the morning, I said, got it. And they were like, and this is my lily wrap dress. Now this dress, I told them that this is going to be the biggest hit then in Tiffany Amber. And I can't tell you, we sold thousands of those dresses, not only in Nigeria, all over. So many women would come to me and tell me how much their husband loved them in their dress, or their husband, or how much, or their daughter stole the dress, or just something like that. Women always talk to me about how they feel when they wear Tiffany Amber, and I can only think it's because I'm quite emotional when I design.
Walk me through your process. How does it begin? Is it an idea, a eureka moment in the shower? Do you sketch until something comes to fruition? How does it work?
It doesn't work the same way all the time. I think in visuals. So sometimes, I live in my own world. Sometimes, I could spend 48 hours without seeing anybody, and I'm okay with it. And so I would sit sometimes and think, what do I want the feel of this collection to be? How do I want the woman to feel when she's wearing this piece? I visualize. That's the first thing I do. And then the next thing I do is bring up my vision on paper with my amazing illustrators, because my illustrations are not that great, but you can understand them. And then we start thinking through the fabrics that we're going to use, and then we make our samples. And as soon as the samples come to life, as far as I'm concerned, the entire dress is alive.
It's alive.
And then my mood is very important.
And so how does your mood impact what you create?
So my best friend reckons that I do make the best pieces when I'm in love.
Well, girl, you must have really been in love with this when you made this dress, because it's fabulous. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I love it. So love is one of the emotions that fuels your work.
Yes. I need to be in a good place. I don't think I create well when I'm not in a good place. I suppose that's the same for many designers, but some people will try and push themselves. But I find another aspect of the business to push when that comes up, as opposed to designing. It's important for me to just be in a particular mind space when I design.
Nearly 2 decades ago, a friend of mine brought me to one of your first places in Mega Plaza. Take me back to that era, to the early days of Tiffany Amber. What was that period like for you?
In every aspect of my life, I find myself taking the road less traveled in. And Tiffany Amber was not exempted. You find that you can make up your own rules, build roads and bridges where they don't exist,
Yes.
and just pace yourself better. And that's exactly what happened with Tiffany Amber. I started very simple, casual, and I would probably say that I was a business person before I became a fashion designer.
That's all right.
Because the whole process of making pieces that people wanted and selling them almost immediately just completely put me in the path of understanding that your creativity has to coexist with the business aspects of it.
Right.
And I've been very lucky in that regard. I've been able to balance the two.
In doing the research for this interview, I came across the fact that you actually have a master's degree in petroleum law. Is that correct?
Yes.
and you were well on your way to becoming an attorney. So how did you veer off of that road into the fashion lane?
I discovered fashion by serendipity. I went into fashion because I was in law school.
Okay.
I'd been told so much about Abuja. We were the first set of lawyers in the new law school in Abuja, and then we were told that, you know, you have to dress conservatively. It's very hot over there, and so I made a whole wardrobe for myself. And these pieces from my wardrobe, every single time I would wear them, I'd get so many people. Oh my God! They want. I ended up giving out most of my pieces, and then by the next term, I came back to school. I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a little bit of extra pocket money. So I made loads of pieces. Well, 2 suitcases. And then I sent out the message, hey guys, I've got some pieces for sale in my room. And within 2 hours, the 2 suitcases were out.
Sold out.
Completely sold out. So at that point I said, I think I underestimated this market. And you can imagine, that was a lot of extra pocket money I made in 2 hours. So the next term again, I did the same thing over again. So at this point, I think you might have something here.
Oh, no. I've always been curious about the name of your company. Why Tiffany Amber?
Initially, it was really difficult to tell my father of blessed memories that I wanted to be a fashion designer. So this was supposed to be a hobby I did pending going into full law practice. So I decided that I couldn't use my real name. So I had to use the name. I decided on the name Tiffany Amber. Would I call this brand Tiffany Amber today?
Right. If you were launching this line today, would you name it Tiffany Amber?
Probably not. I think initially when I started Tiffany Amber, our designs were very Eurocentric. Even though we did infuse from time to time some adire with beads on it, some Ankara's tunics. You know, the designs were very laid back. And over the years, the Tiffany Amber woman then is still the same Tiffany Amber woman today, but her style has changed.
How has she evolved?
Well, I think the best way to describe it is she is wearing her culture like a badge of honor now. They travel all over and they want the world to know they're African in the classiest way. So these women, we had to grow with them. And these women, they command a new type of cool, a new type of allure, a new type of sexy, a new type of elegance that's made in Africa and is made for now. And the world can see that now.
You know, there is no better town to get dressed up in than Lagos, right?
No.
I mean, New York is a fashion capital, Paris is a fashion capital, but Lagos is a fashion capital. And I would argue that pop culture-wise, we're on fire here. So the music is on fire. Nollywood has taken over Netflix. The fashion industry is also on fire. The culinary scene is about to explode. What is happening in this town? What is happening in Lagos that's making all of these industries fire on these cylinders like this?
I think you are 90% correct.
Okay.
I think
90%.
90%.
Check.
Check the music industry definitely on fire.
Right.
The film industry definitely on fire.
Right.
Is the fashion industry on fire?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
See, the music industry is on fire because there's so many channels of distribution. A musician comes up with a song today, in 10 minutes it can be viral globally. But in the fashion industry, we have fashion designers. As fashion designers, most of the time our ideas are truncated at the inception. We come up with a beautiful design, sometimes executing that design or producing it to the level that we can describe the industry as thriving. it doesn't exist at the moment. The infrastructure to make the fashion industry thrive doesn't exist at the moment. Will it exist? I do think so. I think because there's so much talent. In the ideal world, a fashion designer comes up with a design. They don't necessarily have to produce it themselves.
Right.
You send it to a factory for it to be produced. Here at the moment, we're still designing, retailing, producing everything by the same person. It's exhausting. As fashion designers, we make Nigeria beautiful to the world. We are constantly pushing the image of this continent, because you'd find that people might not know Lagos, but they might know a fashion designer that they've seen on social media. Our soft power is not being harnessed enough.
I think you're right.
And we need to harness it.
You know, we had lunch recently, and you said something that really stuck with me. I'm going to quote you here. And it was regarding the future of this country. You said, quote, "If Nigeria fed itself, fueled itself, and clothed itself, we would be a force. Food, fuel, and fashion."
Yes.
The 3 Fs that Nigeria needs for success. I mean, that sounds like a Harvard case study to me. So
No, but
when you're done with all of this,
but you think about it.
get to working on that. But really, the 3 Fs, it was like a light bulb moment for me when you said that. Food, fuel, and fashion.
Yes, and think about it. That's the area that every company coming into Nigeria comes into. The food, the fuel, and the fashion. We need to take control of those things. Can you imagine what a force we would be if all those things, at the moment, Nigerian fashion designers do not even cater for the 1% of the 1% of the population.
Right.
And if we take control of that, decide, you know what, I'm only going to buy Nigerian in every way, do you know how far we would get? A lot of the problems we're experiencing now would not exist. So I'm very passionate about this, and it's something I intend to drive within my own space.
When I'm watching someone read my work, it still thrills me. Do you get a similar sensation when you see someone wearing Tiffany Amber?
Definitely. You know, I always try to acknowledge anybody I see wearing Tiffany Amber because it makes me smile.
Yeah.
No design has come through these doors that I haven't been completely involved with. It's been, so I think to myself, I wonder if she feels the way I want her to feel when creating this piece. So definitely.
You mentioned your father and how you had to keep your line a secret from him. I don't think people understand what it was like to be a fashion designer back then. You know, everybody's Alte now. Everybody wants to be a designer or the next Burner Boy or Whiz Kid or a photographer or a model. That's very common now. But back then, telling your Nigerian parents that you wanted to pursue a career in fashion was tantamount to saying you were going to run off and join the circus. I mean, no one
it was a taboo.
did that.
It was a complete taboo, and I think that for me, the way I managed it is my mother is just one of those incredibly supportive women. And she was, she made us believe that we can do anything in this world, just pray about it first. I remember when I told her that I wanted to launch my own fashion brand, she even gave me money to do it, the first fashion show. And first thing she said was, let me pray about it. And then she came back, okay, let's do this, but you're still going to study law.
When we spoke recently, you confessed that you have a reputation for being a bit difficult. And you added, quote, "Perfectionism is a disease for me." Have you relaxed in recent years, or are you still as relentless about perfection?
Deep sigh.
Time to confess.
I'm an eternal optimist. with an inborn drive to succeed. So perfectionism will always be some kind of a disease to me. But the older I get, the more I realize that there is no such a thing as perfection.
You're 50 this year.
I am.
You've given half of your life to Tiffany Amber.
I have.
Has it been worth it?
Has it been worth it? It's half of my life too short for the dreams and aspiration I have for the brand. I feel like I've just started a new journey. A new journey that would be more difficult for a 50-year-old. But then I don't feel 50.
You don't look it at all.
I feel 25.
Tiffany Amber skincare, is that next?
Sorry, my knee just told me to stop lying. My knees just told me to stop lying. Do I feel 25? No. I just think it's made my journey so incredible. I've met the most amazing people by virtue of having this brand. I've discovered so many different parts of the world that probably would not have gone to had it not been for Tiffany Amber. It's made me understand people and the need to impact people. The other day, a lady came here and said to me that, oh, I worked with you. I interned with you when I was 15. Now I have my own PR agency. I'd really want to work with you. And I was like, what's your name again? There's so many young ladies that you get to meet and you realize that they need to be guided in a particular way. They need some nurturing to make their own dreams come true.
Right.
And so many incredible women that I met over the years helped me. And 25 years of Tiffany Amber just made it even more amazing for me.
I love that. I love that. Setbacks and dark times are inevitable in business and in life, and you've triumphed over serious adversity. What advice can you share about the importance of perseverance?
Perseverance is something that's quite personal to everybody. For me, I'm a Christian, and my faith has kept me pretty much where I am today. Sometimes, things happen, you ask, dear God, why?
Yeah.
And over the years, I've come to realize that He doesn't always answer those questions. I've learned to just rest in Him at those times. There are times that I've been through things that I would say, God, please don't let this happen, or God, let this happen for me. And it's like, He's not answering me. But one particular time struck. I said, God, give me the strength to go through this. And it came almost immediate. And I thought to myself, that's when I understood the need to be very precise in what you ask God for.
All right. You've got some grand plans in the works for your 25th anniversary. Where will Tiffany Amber be in the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades? Because, you look at brands like Gucci, it's 102 years old. Prada is 110 years old. Louis Vuitton is 169 years old, and Hermes is 186 years old. Would you like to see Tiffany Amber become a heritage brand that outlives you?
In 300 years' time, Lola Ogunnaike somewhere is going to say, Tiffany Amber is 300 years old when they list all those names. So does that answer your question? In 300 years' time. Write it down, everybody.
Write it down. Working in Nigeria can be both exhausting and exhilarating. The challenges in this town are endless. But I want to talk to you about how Nigeria inspires your creativity.
I read something once that Lagos can make love to you. It can make you a star. It can make you a giant. It can chew you up and spit you on the pavement. And sometimes all this in 24 hours. So Lagos is a lifestyle. You either love it or you hate it. I think generally, Nigeria helped me find my design voice. When I say it helped me find my design voice, most of my inspiration comes from the incredible women I get to meet. And these are real women with real life jobs, real life families, real life career, and they're just such interesting women. And then the stylish women, oh my goodness, they take you on a mental trip that you just can't help but to feel inspired by them. Most of my muses have been Nigerian. So definitely, Nigeria has inspired me and my designs over and over and over and over again. I've been able to fuse our local aesthetics with global trends as in the most interesting ways that sometimes even I say to myself, oh, wow, I like this. I like this. So I think, yes, Nigeria's been great for me, for my inspiration.
Okay. Even though you've been in business for 25 years, which is a lifetime for most brands, you say you're just getting started.
Yes. I think, how do I put this? The life of Tiffany Amber has been cocooned so far. Everything I've done for the brand, everything that's happened to the brand has brought us to this moment. And now it's a butterfly. A beautiful kaleidoscope of resilience, discipline, undeniable passion and love for the art. Can you imagine a butterfly that's been flying for the past 25 years? It would have touched ground everywhere. So when I say we're just starting, this butterfly, and it's just about to start touching ground everywhere.